guys. Hey everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new here. We're going to be talking about 19 Kids and Counting star, former 19 Kids and Counting star Josh Duggar. As you guys know, he is in prison. Prison? He's in prison serving a 12-year sentence for possessing and receiving child corn. His legal team, as well as his parents, have been fighting tooth and nail to try to get an appeal and to try to get a new trial. But once again, that appeal has been rejected. And from my understanding, and what I'm reading, if what I'm reading is correct, he may be out of chances to appeal this. So let's go ahead. Let's get into it, you guys. It's been a minute since we talked about the Duggars. It's definitely been a minute since we talked about Josh Duggar. He's one of the Duggars. I don't like him, but I cover him simply due to the nature of the situation. I mean, the Duggar family, what they're known for, and their oldest child gets caught viewing child porn. I mean, we're going to cover that. Either way, let's get into it. Oh, hey, Sunflower Queen. Hey. I see you. Anyways, former 19 Kids and County star Josh Duggar's appeal in his child SAM case gets rejected by Supreme Court. Let me remind you guys, during his trial, the Homeland Security guys that testified on behalf of the prosecution stated that in all their years of working this type of work, the content that Josh Duggar was viewing was the worst of the worst. And they explained it too. Like, they kind of went into detail about some of the things that he was viewing. 12-year-olds, like two 12-year-olds, 18-month-old child. It was horrific, horrendous stuff that he was viewing. And really, when you think about it, that him and Ty Chrisley got the same sentencing, and Josh Duggar was over here looking at this type of stuff, like, it kind of lets you know that our judicial system is completely bonkers. He deserved way more time. And I'm not going to lie, at his sentencing hearing, I remember sitting there thinking, there's no way he's not going to get like 20 plus years. And when they come back with the amount of time that they were giving him, I was like, once we figured out how much it was, because they gave the time in months. But yeah, let's get into this, you guys. I just dropped my earring. All right. The United States Supreme Court declined on Monday to hear disgraced former 19 Kids and County star Josh Duggar his appeal for his criminal conviction. This is being reported from CNN. Sorry. As you guys may remember, Josh was sentenced to 151 months in federal prison after being convicted in December 2021 of receiving child SA material. It was revealed in December that Josh planned to petition the Supreme Court to review his criminal conviction after having appealed at every level of the court to no avail. Do you believe that Jim Bob thought he was innocent? No. I think deep down in Jim Bob's soul, he knows that Josh is guilty. But I think he is the type of parent that he will throw out every excuse under the sun to take the blame off his son, and publicly he will act like he thinks Josh is innocent. But I think deep down in his room at night, he lays there knowing that his son did this. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Thank you so much, Jenny, for the question. If you guys don't mind, if you guys believe in the power of prayer, one of my longtime subs, Lulu, you guys could say a quick prayer for her tonight. That would mean a lot to me. Okay, so yeah, it was revealed in December that Josh planned to petition the Supreme Court to review his criminal conviction after having appealed at every level of the court to no avail. According to court documents obtained by the Ashley at the time, Josh and his lawyer, Justin Gelfand, claimed that Josh was not given a fair trial back in 2021, arguing that their alternative theories and evidence was not taken into consideration. It's so wild because, never mind, I'll say this in a minute. Josh and his legal team maintain that Josh's former employee, Caleb Williams, had access to the incriminating computers found on Josh's now shuttered used car lot. So that's what I was going to say. So the court would not allow them to bring in other theories and evidence. The reason why is because their other theories is that it was Caleb, is that it was his employee, Caleb Williams. The reason they would not let that be even brought in is because investigators already talked to Caleb Williams and he had a solid alibi. Not only was Caleb Williams not in Arkansas, but he was in an AT&T in another state. And when he was brought in for questioning, he actually got the AT&T employee to either talk to the investigators or come down with him to be like, no, yeah, he was with us. I was the guy working with him. He got a new phone that day. Here's when he was here. Here's the address of our location. There's no way Caleb could have been in Arkansas at the car lot viewing this type of material because he was in AT&T with me and I was getting him a new phone. So that's why the judge would not even allow them to blame Caleb because they were like, Caleb has a solid alibi. So we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna act like it was him when he was not even in the same state. But this is them not taking his theories and them being unfair to him. His reasoning for an appeal is they refuse to even look at this evidence. Either way, it says, had his petition been granted by the Supreme Court, Josh would have had the opportunity, once again, to fight for a mistrial. Josh's lawyers first filed an appeal in June 2022, shortly after Josh received his sentence. I do remember, too, at the hearing, at his sentencing, after the sentencing, they did a little interview out in front of the courthouse, and his attorney said right then that they would be filing an appeal ASAP. Within 14 days, they were going to be filing an appeal. Okay, so Josh's lawyers first filed an appeal in June 2022, shortly after Josh received his sentence, during which they argued that their client did not receive a fair trial and alleged that Josh's rights were violated during the raid on his used car lot in 2019. Josh's lawyers also claimed that Josh was denied the ability to fully defend himself by presenting a case against Caleb during the 2021 trial, and that Josh had been unlawfully restrained and unable to contact his lawyer during the raid, amongst other things. So that's another thing that they said, is that Josh was unable to contact his attorney. When the investigators got to the car lot and they were like, hey, Homeland Security here, we need to talk to you about something. We got to ask you a few questions. Josh said, you're not here because somebody's been downloading child on the computers, right? Is that why you're here? Is that what's happening? And they're like, something. We need to talk to you. Josh gets his phone out and they're like, hand us your phone. They take the phone. They never told Josh that he could not call his attorney. Josh had an office phone in his office. He could have went, called his attorneys from there. The reason that they immediately took his phone, though, was because if he had been viewing child porn through his phone, there is a button that some of these sickos have on their phones where you open your phone and you hit one thing and it wipes the phone. So they wanted to make sure that that's why he was not trying to get into his phone, was to hurry up and to delete the evidence. So when he did get his phone to call his attorney, they was like, you know what? We are confiscating that device right now. You can't use it. But he didn't. He could have absolutely went inside and used the office phone to call his attorneys. He chose not to. Yeah, it's so strange. It definitely gave him away because that was so I was at the initial I think it was called like a bond hearing maybe, and then I was at the sentencing hearing. And I remember, oh my goodness, that bond hearing took all day. Oh, I thought it was going to be like a quick hour thing. No, it took like 8 hours. It was so much information. I remember just having notes and notes and notes of information. But that was something that jumped out at me is the fact that when they got there and they knocked and Josh came out, they're like, hey, we're investigators. We need to talk to you about something. He was like, you're not here. Somebody hasn't been downloading child porn on my computer, have they? And they're like, what makes you say that? So yeah. All right. So the Supreme Court shut down Josh's latest attempt to overturn his prison sentence on Monday by declining to hear his appeal without comment. Josh remains in a Texas prison where he is not scheduled to be released until October 2032, which is way too soon for me. Josh's parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, and a wife, Anna, have yet to comment on Monday's decision by the Supreme Court. Anna does go visit Josh, and from my understanding, I think she takes the kids as well. I know she takes them to Texas. They have family members over there. They actually have family members that own a house pretty close to the prison. So she goes there quite often. I know she visits. I'm not completely sure about the kids. Probably so. When this case was happening, I looked at the family for the first time. The parents were so abusive they created this monster. The parents were definitely questionable. Yeah. Didn't they see Josh's reflection somehow on the computer screen? So, yes, they did. Yes, that's true. So some of the photos, here's basically what happened. So it logged the time that this content was being downloaded on his computer. So he is downloading child porn. It's logging it in the computer that it's happening at this time on this date. What just so happened around the same time, he takes a selfie of himself with his computer, with his phone. He takes a selfie with his phone and he uploads it, and you can see that he's like in the office. You can see the reflection, like of the computer. He's sitting in the office, so there's like evidence that he was there. He got 12 years, which is not long enough. I mean, Todd Priestley got 12 years. That's crazy. Um, yes, so there's photos. You can see his reflection. There's text messages where he's texting Anna saying, "I'm going to be working late today," and then the child porn was downloaded, like within minutes of him telling his wife that. Um, so I mean, to me, it's like quite obvious. Yeah, he got caught. The feds were watching him. Has anyone heard the news about Jana Duggar? She's still living with her sick parents. Jana Duggar, yes, from my understanding, she still lives with them. And from my understanding, she will live with them until she gets married. I can tell you guys sitting in that courtroom, waiting for the sentencing, when the judge was like talking to him and kind of going over everything, I was just like, he's definitely going to get like 20 years. When they said 151 months, I remember we all looked at each other like, what is that? What's 151? 12, 24. Like we're all like, somebody leans over and they're like, actually, it was Bobby Holt. It was Miss Bobby Holt that leaned up and was like, that's 12 years, you guys. And we were like, that's it. 12 years? I think his wife had software installed on his computer to monitor his internet activity. And Josh had a workaround that would not monitor everything. You are correct. So Josh, because he had been busted with the Ashley Madison thing, he had a corn addiction. Him and his wife decided to download this app called Covenant Eyes. And basically, it's an accountability app where you assign an accountability partner. They get alerts if you go to a site that is questionable, rated X, rated R. Your accountability partner will get an email or get a text message saying, hey, your buddy over here is looking at X, Y, and Z. That was to hold him accountable to make sure that he would not look at this type of content. However, yes, he found his way around that. He used what was called a, what was it called? What was it called, you guys? Uh, torrent. Yes. Okay, let me see. A computer used to download child had a bypass installed to get around any anti program. Goaded attorneys in the federal case against Joshua Duggar argued in a court filing. The bypass was installed the day before child was downloaded, the government claims. Josh of Springdale wasn't the only person with access to the computer, his defense attorney notes in earlier court filings. The desktop computer in question was seized by investigators at a car lot Duggar operated. Employees and others had access to it, according to court documents. Duggar's office and personal electronic devices were seized, and the contents copied in November 2019. Duggar is charged with 2 counts involving receiving and possessing child. Um, yeah, it was a Linux partition. That's what I was looking for. So he had a Linux partition in the computer, which literally made the computer like 2 different computers. So with a passcode, you turn the computer on, you put in one passcode, it brought you to his regular computer, regular files that his wife and anybody could look at. You put in a different code, it brought up this different part of the computer where he had downloaded child off the dark web. Yeah. So, yeah, I am glad to hear that the Supreme Court rejected an appeal again. That's awesome. I really do think I think this was his last appeal from my understanding. I was reading into it, and from my understanding, like he's done so Sean explained it a little bit better. He split the computer into 2 operating systems. Windows was one part of the memory, but then he sectioned off another part of the memory to run Linux. Yes. Um, yeah, well, if that doesn't show intentions, that's a lot of work. Exactly. So yeah, there it is, you guys. If I hear anything else about Josh Duggar, we did see pictures of him recently. Somebody took pictures of him in prison, growing his beard out. He didn't look too good, but his wife Anna has chosen to stand by his side, stand by her man. It's kind of scary because literally he was watching 12-year-olds and he had a daughter that was 12 at the time. So disgusting. You guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Double check you hit that thumbs up button on the way out. Also double check, make sure you are subscribed because YouTube, they don't do me any favors and they do unsubscribe people all the time. Also, we are trying hard to get to 100,000 subscribers. So, yeah, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Also, you guys, something that I'm going to be implementing really soon is I know I don't do enough for my members. So, I'm going to start where I at least do 1 members live a week, where it will just be about just members. It will be locked down for members, and we will just kind of talk about whatever's going on in the reality TV world, stuff going on in my life, y'all's life, whatever, and it will be strictly for members. Just because I know I don't do enough for you guys, so I wanna start doing something for you guys. Anyways, I love y'all. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.